She Being Brand New by Cummings. She being brand new and, consequently a little stiff, I was careful of her, and, having thoroughly oiled the universal joint, tested my gas, felt of her radiator, made sure her springs were okay, I went right to it, flooded the carburetor, cranked her up, slipped the clutch, and then somehow got into reverse. She kicked. What the hell? Next minute, I was back in neutral, tried and again, slowly, barely, nudging my lever, right, oh, and her gears being an A1 shape passed from low through second into high like greased lightning. Just as we turned the corner of Divinity Avenue, I touched the accelerator and give her the juice. Good. It was the first ride, and believe we was happy to see how nice she acted right up to the last minute coming. Back down by the public gardens, I slammed on the internal expanding and external contracting brakes. Both at once brought all of her trembling to a dead stand still.
Choppy?
Pubescent.
Sex. I think this poem is about sex.
Because it was really hard to read and understand.
It's about a guy who apparently is not very good at figuring out how to have sex with someone, and a girl who it appears has never had sex before.
It's a car metaphor about maybe a first time, certainly a first time between a couple. I don't know. I read the way that I assume that the speaker is male, and since the car is referred to as a female, it just reads like a sex scene to me.
If the choppiness could be the form, then it's kind of like about him trying to start the car, get it running, and it's like being choppy. So I guess that's why he wrote it like that. That's how it reads.
Obviously, he tries to get the whole ups and downs of the process, and with the way he, like the way he uses his punctuation, the way he uses his like capitalizations and stuff.
I think that the form and the style is written to make us feel like we are this speaker. We have these stops and shifts, just as if you're driving a car, warming your partner up, I suppose, so that the parentheses are made to sort of maybe think us, or help us think the way that the speaker is thinking, that the spacing again reflects the sort of stop and start of warming up a new car.
Some guy in a garage. He's American. And he drops a Mustang.
Cummings? I mean, unless he was watching someone try to have sex with someone.
I guess that probably shows my very heteronormative thinking, in a sense, that I would assume that this speaker is male because the car is referred to as a woman.
I think it's trying to describe a situation of this guy trying to work on this thing that he loves, his car, and make it sound awesome that he got it to work. So he's like, yeah, step on the gas. It was sexy or something.
I suppose trying to evoke a mood of awkwardness.
Okay.
About how awkward it is to try to have sex with a person for the first time.
I think it's kind of a fun poem. As a feminist, I could be highly offended by this poem. I could say that it objectifies women, that by comparing a woman to a car, and that's the way I read it, that this is highly offensive, and I could get my hackles up. But I think it's kind of a fun poem that explores this sort of awkwardness in maybe in human sexuality in the way we interact through the metaphor of a car, which also is probably something deeper there about consumer culture too.
I think the words are like common man words. You know, there was no word in there that I was like, man, what does that mean? Other than maybe some of the technical stuff.
I mean, I realize he's trying to equate it to the first time driving a car.
Yeah.
It's a new car. I don't understand how this car works. You know, so lots of that. And it's okay.
A little stiff seems to me sexual. Thoroughly oiled, the universal joint, testing her gas, feeling her radiator. These things, again, the feel, the oiling, the joint, something about that seems very, again, sexual. Like the diction is used specifically not only to think about you know, how you drive a car, again, but how you also maybe drive a woman. Maybe my feminist hackles are getting up about this the more I talk about it.
The theme is getting something to work that you love, and then the feeling when it does kind of work. I guess that's what I see.
We already covered that.
That's right, we did.
Yep. It was awkwardness.
I think that the theme has to do with this sort of human sexual experience, the experience between two partners, and it's a successful one, I assume, because, you know, she's brought trembling to a dead standstill. Oh, maybe there's something really to be said about stepping out of some of the restrictive sexual mores that would have been happening in the 1920s, or would have been expectations, especially for women and men, you know, proper. E.E. Cummings is stepping outside of that and making this a little bit fun.
The tone is kind of has to do a lot with this love that he has for the car, and I think that's the mood he's trying to. I mean, I don't know if he's making love to his car, maybe in his mind, and that's kind of how he's describing it. But I think the mood is like that because that's the point of the poem, to evoke feeling and emotion, and he's kind of sharing his emotion in this experience that he's having.
Rather candid.
How so?
Well, I mean, he, in so many words, is pretty much coming out and saying everything about what he did well in his shortcomings. You know, it's kind of earnest. He doesn't exactly try to paint himself in the best light.
The tone of the poem is light. Maybe you can sort of feel the speaker's nervousness a little bit in this, but it is, I think, a fun poem. Like I said, it's not meant to be. I don't think we're supposed to criticize the speaker in any way. I don't think we're supposed to be angry with him. I think we're supposed to go along for the ride, so to speak. And I think that again relays the fun in intimacy.
Metaphors. Well, there's the car, of course. The car is like a metaphor for any great work or project that you want to put your life into and want to see come to life. And so he's working on it, and that's why it's just so, he feels like accomplished, I guess, when he's in that car and he's driving down the road, and it's at least kind of working. That's what it's about. It's a big metaphor for anything that you dedicate yourself to, or a love.
The car is a girl.
Right.
Specifically a virgin, seeing as she is new and, you know, consequently a little stiff. And corner of Divinity Avenue, I would suppose would be an orgasm. I'm guessing the Public Gardens is a vagina. And the dead standstill is the post-coital cuddling and whatnot.
The metaphor is the car. The car stands in for the woman, which again, I don't know, maybe I should feel a little maybe I should feel a little more incensed about that. Because it is making a woman into an object if I read it that way, and I do. But there's still certainly some appreciation for this car. The metaphor works that way. The speaker is the driver. And somehow I think because of the diction, because of the stops and starts, the form of the poem, those metaphors contribute to the tone and the theme, again, revealing sort of a nervousness but a fun overall experience for a first time.